Welcome to the Magical Readathon! I'm going to be doing two-week-long reading vlogs. Hopefully I will be able to read all 7 books that are on my TBR. If you want to know what those 7 books are, I did make a TBR video. You can go and watch that. Today is March 31st, so as of tomorrow or tonight at midnight, I will be officially starting the readathon. Unfortunately, tomorrow I will be working 11 hours, so I don't really think there's going to be much reading done then. And then Saturday I'm also throwing a bridal shower, so I probably won't have much reading done that day either. But I did want to come and tell you guys that the first book I will be starting is going to be The Mime Order, and I'm really excited about this. Good morning! It's April 1st, so it is officially time to start the readathon. Last night I was working on trying to finish up some books from March before the readathon starts. I didn't manage to finish either of them, one of which I am going to finish today first thing, and that is my audiobook. I'm listening to The Family Upstairs, and I have about an hour and a half left, so if you include my drive to work and usually about how much time I get to listen to an audiobook at work, I will be more than finished. The other book that I am currently reading is an ARC that I got from NetGalley, and I'm only like 17% through, so I'm gonna put that down just for the time being in order to pick up The Mime Order, because I really want to read this. And while I'm really enjoying that ARC like a lot, it's not gonna help me for this month, and I am just really in the mood for The Mime Order. That's my breakfast. Hello. So it is the end of day, the first Friday. I have not read any of this today. I read the opening paragraph and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I have just been so busy. I didn't get any time on my lunch break, but I did finish my audiobook from last month, The Family Upstairs. My Goodreads review is literally just the word ew. 2 stars. I think that pretty much sums up my feelings there. I am reading that for a secret TBR, but that video won't come out until September, probably. I am going to try my darndest to sit and do some reading of this right now. I did do the math and figure out how much I need to read of this every single day, and like each of my books every single day, in order to finish everything by the end of the month. And I did count in for the fact that today and tomorrow I probably won't be doing any reading, so I'm safe not to read. But I'd really like to read, like I'm in the mood to read, but I'm so tired right now. I might just put on the TV show Good Girls and watch an episode and then go to bed. Side note, I have been obsessed with the TV show Good Girls. Obsessed. I'm already in season 2 and I started it 2 days ago. Please someone watch it. I want to talk about it with someone. There's so much to talk about. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go to set up for the bridal shower and then have a great day, but I woke up early this morning, just couldn't sleep, and I decided to start audiobook. First one for Magical Readathon is Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. Dudes, I feel like my channel is becoming a Karen Slaughter stan channel. I love her so much. I'm getting tired. We're gonna sit you down. So I'm waiting on my mom to show up so that I can take her over to the bridal shower, so I might have to leave at like a moment's notice, but I'm really enjoying Pieces of Her. I'm only 10% through, which is like 2 chapters, and I'm not planning on trying to like rush through it because today and tomorrow is going to be like a crazy schedule for me, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And it might be another 5-star Karen Slaughter book. We'll have to see. It'll all depend on the rest of the book. Of course, chapter 1, I almost cried. Like, it was a really good chapter 1. Well, the first, like, Karen just does this really good job with her, like, intro chapters where the first, like, 60-70% of the first chapter, everything feels so normal and so kind of boring almost. And then you just hit this point where, like, you learn one piece of information and it just flips. And all of a sudden you get chills all throughout your body and you're just like, oh my God, oh my God. And that's what happened in this one. And I'm so excited to continue and learn more. I'll tell you what happened in chapter 1, and then I'll tell you, like, briefly the information you need to know from chapter 2, just to get the kind of plot. But from here on out, I will not be spoiling any more of this book. It does have a Netflix TV show or TV movie. I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show. But I had a friend of a friend tell me that it wasn't good. I might have to be the judge of that, just to be honest, because this book is really good. But we'll see. We'll see how it continues. We are following a woman. She's 31 and it's her 31st birthday, and she's kind of, her life is in shambles. Like, she doesn't really know what she's doing with her life. She has no, like, ambition or anything. 3 years ago, she moved in with her mom. This is like pre-COVID, so it wasn't anything to do with that. It was literally that her mom got breast cancer, and so she went to live with her because her life was falling apart anyways. Why not just move in with her mom and be there for her when she's going through this? So her and her mom, you know, don't totally get along, whatever, but they go out for a lunch. And while they're there, they run into 2 of the mom's clients. She's some type of psychologist or physical therapist. I can't remember, but exactly. I think she was like a pathologist, like someone who helps with speech issues after people have like strokes or other illnesses. While they're having a conversation with those 2 women, a gunman comes into the restaurant and shoots and kills the 2 women they're talking to and attacks Laura. Laura's the mom, and Andrea, the daughter. And the mom steps it up and handles the situation and gets them out slightly injured, but pretty much safe. Chapter 2, the police are talking to Andrea. Andrea's really in shock, and she's starting to realize that what she remembers from that scene is not actually accurate and that something else went on, and she doesn't know exactly what happened, and that something is up with her mom. And I'm so, I am home from the bridal shower, which at the bridal shower, I got informed that I was going to the food tasting afterwards. So I went to the bridal shower, set up bridal shower, was at bridal shower, was informed I had a food tasting, ran home, dropped all my stuff, and then went to the food tasting. And then I literally just went to the dollar store to try to figure out something for dinner, and now I'm home. It is like 5 p.m. and I am dead tired. So what is for dinner from the dollar store, you might ask? Chocolate milk and pancakes. I'm very tired, and that was one of the few things that sounded like I could palatably eat it right now. So there's a storm coming through tonight. We already had a tree down in my neighborhood today. It's blocking one of the exits. Fortunately, we can still get out the other way, but I'm just going to be bunkered in for the rest of the evening. So I'm going to get changed, and then I'm gonna get super comfy, and I'm gonna go make those pancakes, and then I'm gonna sit and probably watch Good Girls maybe all night long. Hello! So I finished my first book for Magical Readathon, which is the book I was reading for Conjuration, which means I had to have a light on the cover, which was Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. This was not my favorite Karen Slaughter, to be honest. It beat the other series that I had read by her, but I didn't like it as much as any of the standalones that I have read by her. I ended up rating it a 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't bad, and I can pretty easily put my finger on what I didn't like, and it was kind of a very specific content in the book that I myself just don't have interest in. So I think a lot of other people would enjoy this book a lot more than I did. I also feel like there was kind of one very specific scene that had that Karen Slaughter gore. And beyond that, the rest of the book was kind of lacking in that, like, she just has such a dark way of writing, and I missed a lot of that darkness in this one. So I've told you a little bit about the mom and daughter. The daughter ends up going on the run because of something that happens, and the mom stays back to like fight what's going on. And then you start getting flashbacks from like the daughter's on the run trying to survive, and then every other chapter is the mom back in the 1980s, and it's connecting the dots of what happened and how we got here. I did not care about the mom's backstory. There's this kind of like cultish vibe thing that's happening to her. And I just finished The Family Upstairs, which had a cultish vibe to it. And the only other book that I've read with a cultish vibe was Little Heaven by Nick Cutter, which I also very much did not like. So I'm starting to think, I've always thought I liked cult books, but I'm starting to think I don't. And that was the main part of the story I just like couldn't get into and I didn't really care about. But I did enjoy large aspects of this book, and I did really like the ending. I don't know if I would continue on in the series, to be honest. It would kind of depend on what the rest of the series is going to be about, because this was a very like complete thought, and I don't know what she would do to continue it on. Besides, like, I do think that these two characters are going to get together eventually, but that's not enough to write a sequel about. It was fine, but I'm not in love with it. I did start the Mime Order last night. It's downstairs. As of right now, I am about 75 pages into it, and it's really slow and kind of boring, to be honest. I remember that the Bone Season did the same thing to me, where the first like 50 pages, I was like miserable and I wanted to DNF that book so bad, but I wanted to stick with it for at least 50 pages. Once I hit the 50 pages in this book though, like it didn't pick up like I thought it was going to. So I'm gonna give it to page 100 to see how I'm feeling. I don't feel like I want to DNF it right now, but I'm not feeling like super drawn into it. And I'm hoping that that'll just change. So I know I just said I'm giving it to page 100, but I don't know what that means exactly. When I get to page 100, if it's still kind of boring, am I gonna quit? I don't know. I'm not really wanting to quit, but I'm also like not drawn to it. But I'm also like super in a mood right now, and I'm just not enjoying books and haven't rated a book well in a long time. Hello, I have a box. It's exciting. Yes, I know. So I'm technically not allowed to purchase any books from April 1st to April 15th. It is my punishment for failing last month's TBR-opoly. But I bought this before then, and there's one other thing coming shortly, so I thought I would open it with you all. And yes, I have not purchased anything. I am still doing well. I'm still succeeding. This one looks like it's going to be pretty easy to open. Oh, and she wrapped it up super nice in here. If you guys haven't heard of Pingo Books yet, it's where I sell all of my unwanted books, like anything I unhaul, I sell on there, and then you can use it to get credits to buy books. And so I haven't even spent money on the site yet, and I've gotten so many books from them. City of Lies by Sam Hawke. It is a book that was on my 2022 TBR, so I wanted to read it this year. Still do. Still very excited about it. It is much thicker than I thought it was going to be honest. So the reason why this made it onto my TBR is because I found out that Sam Hawke is a woman. Outwardly, Joven is a quiet, forgettable friend of the Chancellor's charming, irresistible heir. In secret, he's a master of poisons and chemicals, sworn to protect the Chancellor's family from treachery and assassination. When the Counselor succumbs to an unknown poison and an army besieges the city, Joven and his sister Kalina must protect the heir from enemies within and without. But treachery lurks in every corner, and woken by war, the ancient spirits of the land are rising and angry. I know there are 2 books in this series. I don't know if it is a finished duology or if there are going to be more books. So first off, last night I did start The Dragon Reborn. I have it over there. I'm not going to run and go get it for you all. I am 10% through. I'm in chapter 5. I'm going to be mostly listening to that. So since I finished the Karen Slaughter book yesterday, that's going to be my main audiobook for the week. I am going to be listening to 10% every single day until I finish, which means some days that will be hard and some days that'll be super easy. 10% seems to be about an hour and 15 minutes on the speed that I'm listening. I usually can get that done in the morning when I'm getting ready for work and going on my morning walk and then driving to work. That takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours depending on how my morning is going. So I should be able to finish it in the morning and then have the rest of the day to listen to something else. I had a really crappy day at work yesterday, and unfortunately it made my mental health go. So I haven't read in about 24 hours, but I'm hoping today that I will be feeling a lot better. I did a full face of makeup hoping that if I looked better, I would start feeling better. So far it's not working. The only thing I want to come in here and say is my copy of New Suns, the anthology that I will be reading for Orilium Magical Readathon, came in from my library. It is a digital copy, so it's on my phone. And I'd like to start reading one story a day. I believe I counted it was like 12 to 15 stories. So I will be reading this in this vlog and the next one, unless I absolutely fall in love with it and just finish it in this one. But that's my goal, is to read one a day and kind of let you know what I think about them each individually. When I drove by, I saw a giant box outside and I have zero clue what it is. So I'm gonna go get it and let's find out. Okay, so Sam's Club. Well, it has my name on it. I did not order this though. Okay, let me get the scissors. First guess is going to be my parents bought me something because they have a Sam's account and sometimes they buy me things and it shows up. It was definitely my mom. I'm gonna have to give her a call because it's a knife set. So the set that these scissors came from, okay, are dull as hell. Like, it is so hard to cut anything. And when I was at the bridal shower last weekend, I was joking around with the bride because she opened up a nice new knife set and I was like, knives are so important. I got hand-me-down knives from my brother, and when he got them, they were probably already hand-me-downs from someone who bought them from Walmart, and so they do not work. I use these scissors as like opening packages only scissors. They don't work for food, and out of the whole set of knives, which there's a lot of knives in there, pretty much just one of them is sharp at this point. My mom was at the bridal shower too, and she must have overheard that conversation. I think she was like a few feet away from me. Bought me a knife set, God. And this sharpens them, and it has scissors, and there's a few different types, and it's supposed to be the kind that never dulls, so even with the straight edge you can cut tomatoes, which is one of my issues. Like, my knives won't cut tomatoes because they're so dull. This is my other knife set, by the way. Even some of the knives, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it, but some of them are like rusted already, and I like got them rusted from my brother. So I wasn't about to complain though, because free knives. Anyways, let's sit. Let's pop a squat. So I've officially done no reading today except for I did start New Suns. So I listened, or I'm not listening, I'm reading it. I read the introduction, which was by LeVar Burton, who is Geordi from Star Trek. That's where I know him from, besides like reading Rainbow. I don't think I really know him from anything else. The intro was like a page, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And then I read the first story on my lunch break, which was called The Galactic Tourist Industrial Complex, and I'm giving it a 3.5. If you're new to my channel, I don't enjoy short stories. I don't like short story collections. I'm actually only reading this short story collection because it is for a prompt specifically where I have to read a short story collection. And I picked out this one specifically because it was not only written by, well, it has own voices, speculative fiction, so it has horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, but what I really enjoyed about it is I was actually looking for an Indigenous voices anthology, and this one had not only Indigenous voices but Black voices and Asian voices as well. And like I said, there's like 15 stories in it, so I thought that this would be a lot better of a work to read. Instead of just getting Indigenous voices, I would have a collection of stories from lots of different voices. But it was definitely a sci-fi story, very heavily sci-fi. And I'm not gonna like go into a huge depth about each of these short stories, but I will tell you what genre I think they fall into, what I rated them, and then like really quickly what I thought about them. So I actually really liked this one. I know a 3.5 isn't super high, but I enjoyed it a lot. I would seek out other books written by this author and see what he has to offer, especially since I am still kind of exploring the sci-fi genre more. I liked the characters and I liked the concept of the world. It's about this black man who is a taxi driver on Earth, but Earth has become a tourist spot for aliens. But the first one I liked. I give it a thumbs up if I have the option of thumbs up, thumbs down. So I completely lied yesterday. I ended up calling my mom after we talked, and then she came over here because she wanted to see the knives, which were from her, and they work amazingly. And then me and her got talking, and so she invited me to dinner at my parents' house. I went over there, and I had a really good conversation with my parents. Something really important is changing in my life, and I will let you guys know more about it once it's official, which should be this weekend. I talked to them about it. It was very emotional, very strong, very powerful, and a lot of things are going on. And so I stayed there until late, and then I came home and showered and went to bed. So I didn't read any more yesterday. I did just read the next short story in New Suns, and I didn't like it. So it was Deer Dancer. I rated it 2 stars. It was more of like an apocalyptic story, not totally like hard sci-fi, and I just didn't see the point of it, and I didn't like the author's writing style. So 2 stars. Good morning and happy Saturday. It's April 9th today, and I have some updates, and I'm gonna finally make some decisions for you all. So I've been having a pretty crappy week, and to be completely honest, I've been having a crappy year. And I finally this week made some active changes in my life, which I mentioned last night that I'm not going to tell you about until everything is in fruition. It's led me to realize that there are some other things in my life that maybe could just benefit slightly from some changes. Nothing crazy. I'm just coming in to tell you that I talked to my friend last night who we're both kind of going through a little bit of a reading slump. And when I go through a reading slump, it's not so much that I can't read or that I'm not reading or that I don't want to read. I don't usually feel that way. I usually want to read. It's that everything I'm reading is bad, or I'm not emotionally connecting to it the way I feel like I should be. And when it consistently happens over the period of a few months, or even just like over a few weeks, I start to realize that it's not the books I'm reading, because I've been reading, 15, 20 books in that time, and that it's me. Oh my God, sorry, my neighbor's dogs were fighting. Anyways, what I'm trying to say right now to you all is that I feel like I have not been enjoying the books that I'm reading, and I am definitely 100% going to finish the Mime Order. I am just setting it down so that I can read what I'm about to tell you about. I will one day finish The Dragon Reborn. I absolutely want to. It's just a matter of right now, I cannot focus on it. I can't bring myself to care about it. So I am going to put that on pause, and I'm going to pick up something else, / I have already picked up something else. Now, because I did have to read The Dragon Reborn for Magical Readathon, I am going to have to change I'm going to have to make sure the prompt fits this new book, and I absolutely think that I can make it fit. There's a couple of options because I was reading that for trope that I love, so I can definitely make it work for something else. I am so glad that I made this decision. Last night, I decided to pick up The Host by Stephanie Meyer, which I read at some point in high school, and I've always wanted to reread and come back to it, but I've been nervous / it's pretty big, so I was afraid of it taking up too much time. But I started last night. I'm already on page 80, and I literally was reading up until I fell asleep last night, which I stayed up late in order to read this, and then I woke up this morning, the first thing I did was sit in bed and read. I didn't even get up and brush my teeth and everything like I always do. I sat and read for a while. I'm loving it, and I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to chase that feeling because I've been struggling so much recently, and to have something finally be good and me be like attached to it, I don't care where it comes from. Tropes that I love that are in this book, there's the concept of aliens taking over Earth. I love that concept because it leads into the dystopian setting of like people in the woods running away, which I love for some reason, being like hunted. It has the whole entire parasite trope, which is also something I'm very fascinated by. And it also has like unlikely friendship, which is something I very much like. Also, it has forced proximity, but not in like a we're going to fall in love way, but in a we're going to become friends way. It has a lot of things I really like in it. And since I read this back in what did Goodreads tell me last night? I think it said like 2016. It's been 6 years, and I can remember like very, very random specific scenes. I could remember like the opening scene, and I can remember one other scene in my head of like when she finally meets the rebels, but other than that I can't remember anything. And so it's like I'm reading a brand new book again, but it's like a brand new book that I know I'm gonna love. What is the host about? This is Stephenie Meyer's, so she's the author of Twilight, but this is not Twilight at all, and supposedly there's supposed to be another book after this, but she's been saying that since this book came out, which I don't remember when this book came out, but we know it came out before 2016. Don't think it's getting a sequel anytime soon, if ever. And this is about a alien species that took over Earth, and they are parasites, and they like implant into your brainstem, and they take over your entire body and everything, and your consciousness is destroyed. And they do this to lots of different planets, and the whole entire concept is that they are peaceful, loving, good creatures, and so they feel no guilt doing this to other creatures, because when they get to these worlds, they make the world a better place, and they legitimately do make the world a better place. They take care of like carbon emissions and race issues and war issues and murder, and anything that is bad is gone now. But we are following one host, not a host, we're following the soul that is put into the body, which is really interesting. I feel like it could have been easily that we were following the human, like the last human on Earth, but we're following this soul that was put into this body of a rebel person. She was like one of the last humans on Earth, and the human, the host, is fighting against her for control. It's about the two of them kind of slowly learning to be friends with each other, learning about the rebel cause, because the rebels are trying to survive. They're barely hanging on, and the last of the souls are trying to find these rebels and just get rid of the last human race, because they know that whenever they do come in contact with the humans, there is death, and they don't want death anymore. And so they are trying to get this soul to get the memories from this host in order to figure out where those rebels are. And the host, Melanie, is fighting against the soul, Wanderer, in order to keep her from getting to certain memories. And as Wanderer learns more and more and more about Melanie's life, she definitely starts to sympathize with the humans more and more. I am really, really enjoying it. I see a lot more of this story's connection to things this time through than I did the first time, just because I'm older and I know more and I understand things better. Today I am going to be going over to my brother's to clean and paint and everything, so I won't get through much of this today, but I am going to go down and have just like a chill morning this morning. I'm going to go make some breakfast right now, and then I think I'm going to sit and read this until I have to leave, because I still have an hour and a half until I have to get over there. Yesterday went really well, and it was just a long, tiring day. We were there the entire day. Also, my period started, so I was already just like, my body was trying to go through a lot of stuff. So I slept a lot last night. I haven't slept in this late since like high school maybe, maybe my freshman year of college, to be honest, which it wasn't even that late. I just slept in until 9. Like, that's not late at all, but I feel like half my day is gone, to be honest. That's fine. Because the plan for today is just to go grocery shopping, eat some good food, and read, possibly do some painting if I'm in the mood for it, and maybe go read by the pool if it's sunny enough. It is kind of a chilly day out. I am 120 pages through The Host. I'm hoping to just like sit and just read it. It's so good and it's so easy to get through. I'm also kind of back in the mood for the mime order, so I might try to do like a section of that book's reading today as well. Okay, so I just realized that I actually did read 2 short stories from New Suns yesterday, and I didn't come and talk to you about them. So I'm gonna briefly talk about them, and then I'm gonna go because I haven't done like any reading today. I've been gardening and running errands and everything, and I'm about to go do some more errands, and then I'm gonna sit down and enjoy the rest of my day. So let's talk about the 2 short stories that I read though, so that I can get on with my day and hopefully start reading some. First off, the first story that I read was called The Virtue of Unfaithful Translations, and the reason why I read 2 stories is because I hated this one. It was much more of like historical text retelling. It read like a textbook. Like, here are the facts of this person's life. We're going to, in 40 pages, explain how this one person went from A to B to C to D over the course of their entire life. I do not like reading those kinds of stories, and I definitely felt like this was out of place in this work just because the book was pitched to me as a collection of fantasy, sci-fi, and horror short stories, and I felt like this was much more of a historical fiction. I could see how like it could be fantastical, but I hated it. I ended up reading like the first 3 pages, and then like I flipped ahead a few pages and I read a page there and I realized it was still the same, so I flipped ahead a few pages, I read a page, and I did that until I finished, and the entire thing was like that, and I would give it a 1 star. The next one though was called Come Home to Atropos, and it was definitely a horror short story, and it was very good, although not quite horrifying. It read very much like a Twilight Zone episode, which I find some of those too, while yes, they are horror, I'm not like necessarily like scared by them. Like, the concept is horrifying, but it's not like a scary book, and that's how this was. And it was all in like script format, but it had like these director's notes throughout. So it's the script for this commercial of this beautiful island where you find out old people go to kill themselves. You kind of get the vibe throughout that that's what it's leading to. I did kind of spoil the ending, I'm sorry, but like you kind of know from the beginning that that's where you're going, because the script of the story is telling you like what the shots are looking at in this commercial, but the author's notes in between, or the director's notes in between, are very much like, make sure you're showing this, like you're not showing a crippled or decrepit or wheelchair bound people, and make sure that you don't get shots of like certain things in them. And I don't know, there was something about it that definitely led you to believe that like this place was weird, and then at the very end it kind of tells you like what this island is about. So I really enjoyed that. I rated it 3 stars because the writing style, while it was cool, wasn't necessarily for me. Okay, so I just finished The Fine Print, which was the next short story, and I'm gonna rate it a 2.5. It was an interesting mix of fantasy and sci-fi, and I liked the writing and I liked the concept, but I genuinely got to the end of the book and felt like I didn't understand the point, or that I missed something, or that it just didn't make sense as a story. It's late. I didn't get to do much reading today, unfortunately. I was really hoping just to sit and read all day long, but I did get to work on other things, so that's really good. I am currently at page, I think I'm at like 150. Yes, 150 of The Host, and it is 9:35, so I'm not going to read much longer because I'm very exhausted, but I'm going to try to read a little bit of this before I go to bed. Hi, I know I'm literally in the same spot wearing literally the same outfit, but it is the next day, and I have read the next story for New Suns. It was called Unkind of Mercy, I want to say. Hold up, I just looked at it so I wouldn't forget. Unkind of Mercy, I was correct. I actually really enjoyed it. I ended up rating it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a horror short story. I think the horror aspect was done very well, but I wasn't a huge fan of the writing style because it was very conversational, very much like one person telling another person what's going down, and I never enjoy that style. It makes sense for the ending of the book as to why it is that way, but it's not my favorite. Beyond the writing style, this is my favorite one that I've read. I kind of get the vibe that I'm gonna still enjoy something more. I am officially at page, I think I'm like 215. I'm gonna keep going with The Host tonight, try to knock out as much of it as I can over the next few days. I'm loving it. I'm probably gonna rate it a 5-star. It's that enjoyable for me this time around. And then as soon as I finish that, I am gonna go back to the Mime Order because I am vibing with going back to that. So I'm finally ready to tell you about my good news. Let's open up some light in here. Oh, there's people outside. I don't know them. I'm finally able to tell you the good news that I was hinting at over the weekend. I did get the confirmation on Monday, but I wasn't quite ready to talk about it on Monday. So it is Wednesday as of today, so we only have like 2 more days left in this vlog anyways, but I am going to talk a little bit about it right now, just kind of give you the general outline of what's going to be changing in my life, and then I promise either in my next weekly reading vlog or the one after that, I will go more in depth and we will have a better discussion as to what's going to be changing, why these changes are happening, and what this is going to mean for me and for my channel, because some things will be slightly different. But for right now, it's all good news. I'm going to be cutting back on my hours at work. So I currently work 40 hours at a graphic design job here in my hometown, and I have just had lots of reasons as to why it's not quite working out for me. So I'm going to be cutting down. I am only going to be working Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays I'm going to take off for the time being. We're figuring out for how long, but definitely May, June, and July. And my plan is to make enough income on the side that I can continue having those off going forward in the future forever. Why am I taking this time off? The literal and most direct answer I can give you without going into a ton of details, which I promise I will be doing at one point with you all, is I am looking to find my passion. I am a creative. I make lots of things all the time, and I feel like I am not passionate about anything anymore. I no longer wish to feel that way, so I am going to be searching for it. So I'm going to be trying a lot of different things. You guys got to see last night I was painting some landscapes. I really enjoy doing this, but it's not something I get to do that often. I'm really hoping to make some money off of my creative passions, off of my art, off of the things that I want to make. I don't know how quickly that'll happen or any of the details, of course, but I am so excited that I'm going to finally have the time and the opportunity to do this. Money will be tight, but I think I can make it work. I definitely can make it work for 3 months, and we're just gonna have to kind of play it by ear and see what happens. So if you want to know more about this and lots of other things in my life, you should definitely subscribe and check out my future reading vlogs, because I will be talking about it a lot over the course of the next few months, because it'll be a large part of my life. And starting in May, this is something that will allow me to go back to weekly reading vlogs again. I kind of like the 2-week setup. It allows for me to do some fun things. So we're just gonna play with it and we're gonna figure things out. And that's like what all this 3 months is just a period for me to figure things out and try things and experiment. And I have a nice safety net so that I can do this without being super concerned about anything. And I'm so psyched about that. So one thing that will definitely change, since I'm off on Fridays, I want to do some lives or some premieres on Fridays with you all. So if you are someone who's been on my channel or would like to do a live or a premiere with me at some point, feel free to comment down below like a time on Fridays that works for you and what kind of content you enjoy seeing. I definitely want to do my TBRs as a premiere. Those are so much fun. I'd like to do maybe some lives or something. I just don't totally know what. I could definitely sit and do productivity where I paint or work on stuff or answer questions or whatever. I just don't know, like, I don't know yet what you all want. So we're going to be figuring that out as well. I have returned to The Eye of the Worlds. That's not the book. Wheel of Time, The Dragon Reborn. I'm over 200 pages into it now. I don't know exactly where I'm at because the book is downstairs, but I'm hoping to finish it up maybe by like Tuesday. So I'll be finishing it up in next week. It's 2 weeks from now, but I'm gonna be finishing up next week in the next video. Will not probably be finishing anything else, to be honest, in this video, because yeah, I'm only filming for 2 more days in this video, and I don't foresee me finishing anything else this week. So I'm reading The Host, and I remember crying the first time I read this book, but I remember it being at the end of the book. Anyways, I'm sobbing right now, and I know that I'm gonna cry again before this book ends. But I also know you guys enjoy when I cry in books, so I need to stop and move my laundry into the dryer, and then we're gonna sit and read, and we're gonna see if I cry in the next chapter, and I think I'm going to continue crying. So hope you enjoy this. My washer's about to go off. I think I'm done crying for tonight, so I'm really tired. That wore me out. If you know about this book, it's the part with Walter. That was a really emotional cry. It was a lot, and I know that I'm not done. I know that the end of this book, when I read it for the first time in high school, made me cry so hard that I just went to sleep after I finished this book. Good morning. So I've decided I'm going to try to finish The Host today. I thought it'd be nice to finish at least one more book in this video, since I think I've technically only finished one for Magical Readathon. So I have 180 pages left, which means I do need to like get on it, but it is like 7 a.m. right now, and yesterday I read 150 pages and I didn't start until I got home from work. So I'm thinking as long as I read on my lunch break, and then when I get home, I'll be absolutely fine to finish, because I know the ending is also going to be very addicting. I'm home from work and I'm gonna go and do some reading on the porch of The Host. I think I'm gonna sit and read for about 30 minutes and then come in, do a little bit of cleaning that I need to do, sit down and read some more, have dinner, and then sit down and finish this book. 120 pages left. Time to take my first break. I have 100 pages left, but I think I am about to cry while reading this book. So I'm gonna set you up on the couch cam again, and we're gonna see if it happens. No promises, but I do remember sobbing heavily the first time I read this book at this part. So we'll see what happens. finished it. Oh, emotional. I cried for a lot of that book, as you guys probably saw. Probably more than the first time, to be honest. Although I think the first time it was definitely a different kind of cry because I didn't know where things were going and I didn't know how it was going to turn out. And this time, I did know where things were going, so I loved it. I'm rating it 5 stars this time. I rated it 5 stars the first time. There was definitely a weird comment at the end about, oh, I can't even tell you. Basically a character lying about their age. They're 17 and they lied about being 18 so that they could romantically be with someone who's in their late 20s. Body is 17, the soul is like a few hundred years old, so like there isn't an age gap. Well, there is an age gap, but it's the opposite way, but the body is young. It was just a weird thing, but other than that, this book was so freaking good. I'm so glad I reread it. I'm definitely going to be putting it into my reread shuffle. So there are a couple of books that I reread every few years or every year, or there's like a certain period of time that I come back to them, and I want to put this one into that rotation. I might put it around the same rotation as Six of Crows, which I try to reread every 3 to 4 years because it's just so enjoyable, and I just really, every single time I reread that book, and now this one, I'm thinking, I just get filled with so much joy. I am going to use it for trope that I like. So I have officially checked off 2 of my classes, which is really great. And even though I am making progress on Wheel of Time, I just won't be counting that for Magical Readathon anymore. I feel like when you're watching my channel, you never quite know what face you're gonna get. Today is Amanda dressed up super nice. So it is Friday, which means it is the last day of this reading vlog. I gotta get this all uploaded and edited because I have a very busy weekend ahead of me, so I will not be vlogging this weekend. I probably won't be doing any reading for Magical Readathon, so it's all fine. But I'll be back with you all on Monday, which will be great because it doesn't matter. You're gonna see the next vlog in 2 weeks no matter what I decide to do this weekend. I hope you're all having a great time. I had a blast, even though I really like diverged from my reading plans this past 2 weeks. It's been fun and I'm really enjoying Magical Readathon, and I'm glad that like I'm okay with the fact that I'm probably gonna go into May with reading some of these books. Anyway, so I did manage to read 2 more short stories from New Suns, and then I started the 3rd one. Have not finished that one yet, so I will tell you about the 2 that I finished, and then I will talk about the 3rd one that I'm partially through in next week's vlog, because that only seems fair. So to be fair, when I say I finished these, I skimmed both of them. They were both fantasy and I wasn't into either of them. I didn't like the writing style for either of them. It was just too dense for me and I was having such a hard time understanding what was being said. So I skimmed them and I really don't have a rating because I would have counted both of them as a DNF. The first one was called Burn the Ship, and I was so lost throughout it. I can't even tell you really what it was about. The second one was called The Freedom of the Shifting Sea, and it was a sapphic, I want to call it a mermaid story, but instead of having like the bottom half is a fish, her bottom half was a centipede. And there was on page graphic sex with a centipede woman lady, and I'm not there for that. You can be there for that. That's fine, but I was not there for that. I hope that you'll stick around because in 2 weeks I'll be wrapping up hopefully all of the books that I needed to read for a Magical Readathon, plus some other ones. So thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I will talk to you in the comments. Bye!